My name is Matthew Henderson. I'm the Commissioner of the Department of Vehicle Regulation at the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. After the 9/11 attacks, there was a 9/11 commission, a federal commission that studied that incident. And one of the things that they found out was that all of the hijackers used state-issued credentials to board those planes, so they fraudulently retrieved state credentials. And so as a result of that, the Real ID Act was passed. And this is an act to require states to upgrade the security features on their cards if they wanted to be federally compliant. So Kentucky passed House Bill 410 back in 2017, and this bill gave the Transportation Cabinet the authority to create new credentials that meet those new security requirements. And the main area where Kentucky was falling short was in our issuance model, and that's why we're moving from issuing and producing our cards at over 140 locations across the state to one central issuance location where we can know that the cards we produce are secure and that the citizens of the state of Kentucky can trust the identities reflected in those cards. In Jefferson County, we expect a rollout date of the new credentials sometime in the spring. So we're looking at a date in April or May for Jefferson County, but we're doing a phased rollout across the state of the new credentials. We're going to do 2 pilot counties first to kind of observe and watch the issuance process to make sure it goes smoothly. And then we're going to roll out county by county after that. And we expect to be done sometime by the end of spring, rolling out over all 120 counties across the state. One of the things that we know is the Department of Homeland Security has said that the driver's license in the state of Kentucky, our Kentucky driver's license, they're no longer going to be acceptable forms of federal identification after October 2020. We have 2 options in the state of Kentucky that we're rolling out. We're going to have a voluntary travel ID, and the voluntary travel ID is a federally compliant state-maintained credential, so you can use it for driving, but you can also use it for federal purposes. The most important one probably is the TSA checkpoint. So that's a federal checkpoint when you get onto a plane. We know that after October of 2020, you won't be able to use your current Kentucky's driver's license to get through that checkpoint. So if your expiration date falls after October 2020, you're going to want to show up at your circuit court clerk's office in the county of your residence and upgrade your credential to a voluntary travel ID. That way, that card will be a credential that they can use at a federal location. You also have the option of getting a standard credential. So if you're the type of person that doesn't fly or you don't enter federal locations, you can get just a standard credential. We also should mention that your passport will always work as a federal ID. So if you have the standard credential plus a passport, that'll get you on a plane if you need to. So when you come in to apply for that credential, you're going to need to bring 3 categories of documents. You're going to have to be able to prove your identity, and so you can use a birth certificate for that or a passport to show what your identity is. You're also going to need to be able to prove your social security number. So for that, you need to bring in a social security card or a tax document that has your social security number on it. And then you also have to show what your current residence is. And the best documents to bring in for that are mail that's addressed to your residence. So that would be something like a utility bill or something like that. Now, those are the most common documents you can use to show those. There's also others. So if you don't have the ones that I mentioned, there's other documents that you can use. You can visit our website at drive.ky.gov to get a full list of all the documents that you may need. We also have on that website, it's called an iDocument Builder. So it's an application that you can put in your information and then it'll tell you all of the documents that you need to bring in with you. It's a very nice app. Under Kentucky law, when you want to renew or get your license for the first time, you have to go to your circuit court clerk's office in the county of your residence. One thing that you're going to see is that when you go in and apply for your credential at your circuit court clerk's office, you'll leave with a temporary credential. And then that credential will be valid for 30 days, but within 5 to 10 days of applying for that credential, you'll receive your permanent credential in the mail. And this is because we are producing all of our state credentials at one secure location right now. You're also going to see it's going to be a new design. The card is actually a new card. It's got embedded security features in the card itself that make it difficult to fraudulently reproduce. Also, in the state of Kentucky right now, we have a 4-year issuance period. So currently your driver's license lasts 4 years. We're going to be moving towards an 8-year issuance. So the first time that you go in to get your credential, you'll have a choice. If you're not a CDL holder or under 21, you'll be able to choose between 4 years and 8 years on your credential. And obviously, you're going to have a choice between 2 different credentials. You can get the voluntary travel ID or the standard credential. So the price for the voluntary travel ID for the 8-year option is $48. It'll be half of that for the 4-year. That'll be $24. And for the standard credential, the 8-year is $43, and then half of that for the 4-year issuance, which is $21.50. If there was one thing that I could tell people, I want to just let folks know that you need to make sure that you have those documents that you need when you show up. And so it's best to start preparing now to get your birth certificate, your social security card, those resident proofs, your utility bills or mail that you can use to prove that, so that when you go into your circuit court clerk's office, you have everything that you need. If you want to do international travel, the travel ID is not a passport. So for international travel, you still will need a passport.